Welcome to 247 Real Talk. I'm your host, Julian Perry. It's a pleasure to be here with you once again for another episode of the 247 Real Talk podcast. This is episode 296. We're 4 short of episode 300. 4 more after this, at which time I will make some decisions about where we go from there, etc. I hope you had a great week. I'm going to have a short discussion again on this episode, but I wanted to tell you about something that occurred this week as well. So we're actually going to talk a bit about when families in this economy and what's going on face a crisis, a financial crisis, loss of income, and the dynamic or the family dynamic that is needed to keep it together. So sit back, relax, and we'll be right back. Yeah, I know I said we'll be right back. I meant you and me. It's hot in the studio, even though it's still pretty cool outside in New York tonight. Couple of things I wanted to share with you. Last episode, I talked about me talking more about things based on my beliefs, my spiritual beliefs, and involving you in terms of joining with you in righteousness, in goodness, irrespective of if we have different philosophical beliefs. Would you know that between last week's episode and this week's episode, in the last 30 days, let's say, never happened before in this podcast, always been growing. On the YouTube, at least, I lost 41 subscribers. Now, when you lose 5 or 10, those are normal anomalies that go on with people changing accounts, closing accounts, switching accounts. But when you use 41, that's a deliberate, I no longer want to be part of this conversation. And it's something that in the past impacted me a bit because it bothered me that when I spoke about politics or juicy stuff, stuff that people could pick a side on and form a debate and maybe even get angry at others and cause differences in families, ideological differences, political influences. People were clamoring. The numbers were going way up. But the minute I started a conversation about righteousness and goodness and joining together and something that's based on my beliefs sharing with you the same way, but instead of being purely politically based, it has something to do with my faith and my belief in my Creator. People no longer want to have that conversation. Now, it's funny, too, because that declines on YouTube. I can't say the same for the audio. The audio only where people use apps, those numbers keep going up. So, not sure if it is because of the position I've taken or because maybe more people are involved in something different. They're switched from YouTube to audio, but then again, if you switch from YouTube to audio, you won't unsubscribe, right? But it's okay. The day will come when the numbers will rise again. I believe that because you could run away from a lot of things. You could decide that you don't want to be part of a conversation because it's boring, because it's not about fighting and gossip and those sorts of things. But these conversations are what are important to our lives for longevity, for our long-term happiness, for supporting each other, for helping each other. So really quickly this week, I'm going to talk about something that I've experienced personally and I'm seeing around the country as I look at other influencers, etc. And they talk about so many people recently have been laid off. And we are in a time and a place where the economy, there are those who are saying we got this amazing economy. Those of us, many around the country, not just in Democratic or Republican, across the country, not, every state, are feeling an impact of a downturn of an economy. And what is harder or harsher, I think, this time around is because of the climate in our capital. There are people who were not getting paid. There's a government shutdown. There's political ideology. There's differences, and you have a lot of families where both breadwinners, husband and wife, have lost their jobs. The bills don't stop. The credit card bills don't stop. The light bills, the gas bill, the phone bills. The things that we even rely on for basic daily livelihood, grocery bills, everything is going up. And when the people go to unemployment, I've heard people say there's a whole bunch of rules that in some cases, while they deter fraud, they also make it really difficult for genuine people to say, I need help. Give me a piece of what I used to work for and what I paid into. Cost of living, housing, everything has gone up. If you have someone who was managing and paying their bills and then they get unemployment, they get 50 or 40% of their check, how do they do it? The banks don't stop because of unemployment. The gas or the lighter, I mean, those certain states, and I don't know if it's across the country, they have programs and stuff to help people who've lost income in terms of their basic utilities. But think about it. In this day and age, where the world is pushing technology, AI, every single thing that you need is no longer walk into an office, a piece of paper. All those things have shrunk, and it's all by cell phone and apps and links and cloud management. So if you don't have a smartphone with a decent data plan, even looking for a job, that becomes a challenge. What are we doing as Americans? What are we doing to help each other, to recognize the pain of families out there? We understand that there's a part of society that is the top 1% or whatever that are immune from feeling the economic hardships. They only react when they feel the human hardships, sickness, things where no amount of money you have can save. Then they feel as we do. They want to come to us and say, we feel the same pain. And we who are on the right side of righteousness say, come, let me embrace you as a human being. Yet when things are going well for those who have, the have-nots are isolated, are looked down upon, are put in positions where they are prone to failure, to poverty, to lose the few things they have worked for in life to gain. In this day and age, with the amount of money being spent across the world by this great nation, those within this nation should not suffer. Homelessness should be something that was probably eradicated by now. And those who are left homeless, there are people who choose it because of other challenges, which we won't get into in this episode. But what about those who genuinely need help? What about those who, when you say, I can give you training, it's not just training where I figure out how I get to the training, how I get home, how I pay my bills, but paid training. Training that allows me to show genuinely that maybe my field that I was in has collapsed and I need a new skill and I'm willing and you're going to pay me what the market is worth while you train me, and then you're going to work in a collaborative society to place me so that I have continuity in my life, in my finances, in eating, in having a roof over my head, in feeding my kids, in putting clothes on the backs of my kids, myself, commuting to work. And there are other casualties. One of the casualties that is not spoken of often, but we see if you're in the influencer world, podcast world, or you pay attention, is the stress this puts on families, relationships, marriages, even sibling relationships, people who live collectively in a household, parents and children who are splitting the rent, and now one can't pay or both can't pay, and everybody's getting everybody's nerves, not because the paycheck was attached to love, but because you live in a place where as much love as you have in your home, the minute you open your door and you step outside in the world, you step out into a harsh world that wants to overwhelm the love you have in your heart, and you've really got to hold on to what you have. And for me, that's where faith comes in. You have to believe in something good. If you believe in something bad and you're thriving, I promise you it's temporary. If you live long enough, and if you've lived long enough, you see these things happen in life over and over again, where those who are at the top fall. Those who rise and forget where they came from fall. My dear departed mother always used to say, be kind to those you meet on the way up because you're going to meet the same folks on the way down. And the only way you don't hit rock bottom when you're on your way down is someone raises their hand or lowers their hand and gives you something to hold on to pick you back up. If you fail to do that for others when you're in the position of can do, what are your expectations when you're thrust involuntarily into a situation of can't do? You then look around and expect compassion from those that you shunned. And there are those who have shunned others, who have looked on others, who turned away others, who've fallen, who've received compassion from the same people they stepped on, who were given a second chance to rise. And what do you think happened? He who does not learn from his past is doomed to repeat it. They have done it again. We've seen people rise and fall multiple times. They get second chances and third chances, and they still don't learn the lessons of life. And that is why I started this episode by talking about the people who have walked away from the conversation because it doesn't have the controversy and what they feel is interesting. What I find interesting is helping you. What I find interesting is through my voice, through my podcast, through share my experiences, someone else gets hope. What I find interesting is when I am down and I express my pain, the emails and the WhatsApp and the text messages that I get that lift me up, help to carry me, remind me that our Creator put us here to live collectively, to hold each other together, to unite. And when we unite and we understand who we are, whose we are, then we offer the praise that we should. If I look at my YouTube tomorrow, and I've gone from thousands of subscribers to one, if that one is holding on, and I see them really holding on, meaning actively holding on, I'm here. It may sound funny or cliche when you say, well, I'll just hope I save one life, but that's important. It may seem insignificant. One life, one person, what's the big deal? Until that person is you or me. Then we learn what it is to be able to reach out to someone, for someone to give us hope, for someone to say, I care, for someone to say, I will try to help, for someone to say, here's my last dollar, I can get another one, but I know you have none. We're living in a time that we've never seen before. Even in the other times in history where we have downturns of economies, we haven't had that with the upsurge of things like AI. That is basically what we saw as kids. If you're around my generation or before, you saw those things in movies. What we're seeing today in AI, if you think carefully, look back at what you saw as a child, it was almost in the movies we saw were predictions of what was to come. And we looked at it as a child and we said, that's impossible. Have you tried AI lately? I used to sit and say, as a technology person, what can AI do? Recently, my question has been, what can't AI do? I have challenged it time and time again. And so far, it's almost a bit scary because what it comes back with is better than what I could have produced and accurate. It's getting more and more accurate each day because more and more information is being fed into it. This thing called artificial intelligence has the power to help us help each other, or the power to help someone break us apart. It is coming, it's already here, and it's growing stronger. Why is it relevant? Because the human bonds that we create, the ones I am trying each episode to help to solidify, will become the only opposition to what's coming. Families out there are struggling. People need jobs and incomes. If you have the ability to, for a moment, if you make $100 billion in profit, and you as big companies, any CEOs, anyone listening, can say, I won't make $100 billion this year, I'll make $90 billion, and I'll take $10 billion and offer jobs, create new opportunities, please. We are humans. I'm sorry if you heard that sound because I've got a lot of computers on around me. I forgot to mute them all. But we as humans need your help. Families need your help. Children need your help. Children who have services. I have children who have needs, special needs. Special needs need services so that they can become all they can be because they're brilliant. But God created us differently so that we could use our differences to unite. Use our differences as part of the tapestry that becomes life for us all. So please, hear me. It's time for us to help each other and not sit around paying attention to those who are not. Before I go, I'll let you know that I will take a little break. This is episode 296. I am going to take probably about 3 weeks off. In the past, when I've taken some time, you've seen repeat episodes. This time around, there'll be no episodes. Yes, I know some of you are going to be upset with me. But as I contemplate all that is going on around me, and I'm going to spend some time with family I haven't seen in a while, family I need to see, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to take a break from the noise of the world. I'm going to give myself a break to absorb my own challenges within my environment. I'm going to take a break to pay more attention to loved ones. But I will be back for episode 297, 98, 99, 300 and beyond. First episode will probably be close to the first week in May. So enjoy April. It's spring in the air. We're getting closer to summer. It's getting warmer. Maybe you sit down and replay some of my old episodes. Maybe you'll miss me enough that when I come back, we'll do this in a more powerful and more blessed way. I am forever grateful to each and every one of you, both on the audio podcast, the apps, and those on YouTube. And those who have walked away, doesn't matter for what reason, my back will never be turned to you. Until the next time, please take care of yourselves. And until May, when we speak again, take care of each other.